Testing, testing. Okay. Hey guys, welcome in. I wanted to come on and talk about Mercury's pre-shadow that we've already been in. We've been in it since June 30th. And Mercury is going to be in pre-shadow until it goes retrograde, which is July 18th. Something tells me that's not right, but I think that's right. July 18th, where it's going to go fully retrograde, and it will retrograde through the degrees that it's in now during the pre-shadow. So I wanted to go live because I was looking at what that was going to mean for me and like what themes have been coming up for me right now with this Mercury pre-shadow. It's just been very intense, so I've been feeling it. So I assume a lot of other people are feeling it too. So I wanted to really come and bring this so that we can be proactive, you know, so that we can see where Mercury is trying to work with us, where we need to go within. And we're going to break it down, what it means that Mercury is even in Leo, what it means that it's going retrograde in Leo, because I think that it's a little bit different than just, oh, you know, make sure you check your text messages and make sure you know, read between the lines and stuff. It's still that, right? Because it's still Mercury, the planet of communication and writing and information, research, the brain, how we learn, how we process, how we communicate. But in Leo, when I was going through the energies and breaking it down, it feels a lot more personal. All right, and we know that Leo is also connected to the heart, right? So I have, I got out the cards just to prepare, so I wouldn't have to go through the whole deck. But Leo is connected to the heart, right? I'm gonna break down the tarot associations with these as well, so you can kind of have a visual representation of what's going on. Oh Lord, child, I dropped my favorite crystal. And hold on one second, let me just adjust the chat real quick. I always forget to do that. It's very important. All right, cool. I'm gonna get into the tarot association, sorry, and then the last part of this I will break down individually for each rising and sun sign, so you can check either one or any sign, right? Y'all know how that goes, and just apply it to that house in your chart. But at the end, I'll go through the 12 signs and break down what each sign needs to be paying attention to during this Mercury shadow period, okay? Because the pre-shadow period is going to really give you hints and clues as to what you're going to be working on during the retrograde. And from what I've been experiencing, we're all feeling this. We're all getting the hints. We're all getting the clues. It's just about being self-aware, you know. And like I said, really, y'all, my intention with this, I really make this information work for you. This is not for entertainment for me, you know. It's not, that's not my intention with this, to entertain you. Great if it does, but that's not it. Like, make this information work for you. Use this information. Like, this is helpful stuff. Apply it, you know. See if it works. Like, really work with this energy if you want to see changes, okay? So I just want to put that out there. All right, don't forget to hit the like button, guys, okay? Really helps. It doesn't cost anything, just a beautiful energetic exchange that does help here on YouTube, and y'all know how social media is, okay? All right, so I just wanted to kind of run down what we're gonna be talking about today. All right, so y'all know Mercury is in Leo. We have entered pre-shadow, which is the period before a planet goes retrograde. So like I said, it gives you hints and clues as to what you're going to be dealing with when it finally does go retrograde. So I have all my notes here too, so that's what I'm looking at. The pre-shadow period, first of all, the theme that I got for this shadow period, because I always try to put, that's just how my mind works, it just is. But the theme that I got for it is say it like you mean it, but mean it first. You know, it's like, say it like you mean it, but first you actually have to mean it, because a lot of this Mercury and Leo stuff is ego checking, y'all. That's why I titled this like, this pre-shadow is not cute. You know what I'm saying? It is not cute, and it's going to be even less cute if you know, just don't have the ability to be accountable for yourself and to be self-aware. If you're the person that's always like, yeah, you and they did that, and it's them and it's never me, like, then you might have a tough time during this retrograde period, okay, during this whole thing. All right, but that's the theme that I came up with. Say it like you mean it, but first you got to mean it, okay? The retrograde, the pre-shadow, okay, it began at 4 degrees of Leo. I say this to those of you who really get into your chart, okay? It began at 4 degrees of Leo, so we're going to be moving through these degrees, and this is where it will return once the retrograde is over, okay? So we're moving. So everything that you say and you decide right now, even initiate right now, kind of think of it as like a rehearsal. Honestly, like you practicing in the mirror, because this is what you're going to be going back over. This is why I'm saying don't take this period lightly. Like, pay attention. All right. So those dates, the shadow dates, have been from June 30th. So backtrack a few days to July 18th. Okay, that's your shadow period. On July 18th, Mercury actually goes retrograde, and it will start retracing all of those degrees. So everything that you did concerning Mercury up until that point. All right. So when it does station retrograde, it's going to station retrograde at 15 degrees. Okay. So again, for those of you who are really into your chart like that, okay, the degrees. Now let's talk about what Leo is, right? And any Leos, you feel free to tap in, right? Because you know you best, right? But Leo does rule the 5th house naturally. It's the sign of personal expression, confidence, like, okay, ego, pride, being seen. As I say that, I'm hearing from the Wiz, you got to be seen in green. Like, I would say that would describe that would describe Leos. You know, they are the spotlight, you know. So you could just think about Mercury, our voice and communication, being in that sign. It's like, listen to me, right? You know, and it's going to be a lot of that. It might not be you, but it might be happening around you with people you know and communities that you're a part of. Okay, so that's why I said that this is not just an ordinary Mercury retrograde where it's like, oh, you know, like I said, check your messages and yes, do all of those things that you would do during a regular Mercury retrograde. But this is going to trigger some type of like, this is like identity crisis. Okay, so I know that sounds dramatic, but literally Mercury's retrograde in one of the most dramatic signs, right? Dramatic doesn't have to be a bad thing, okay? So yeah, this is like identity crisis around your voice, around how you communicate, around how you talk to yourself, around your inner monologue, that inner dialogue, that inner voice, the inner critic for some of us. You know, so some questions that I want y'all to be thinking about, and I'll have more. So if you're somebody who take notes, okay? Do you really believe what you have been saying? Okay, so pay attention during this time and notice if it's a disconnect. Because it could feel like you have just either been performing something instead of actually embodying the energy or embodying what it is that you talk about. Is your confidence built on overcompensation? Do you feel like you have to move mountains just to be seen, just to be received, just to be heard, okay, just to be loved, just to feel worthy? Okay, so pay attention to imposter syndrome too. That's coming up. And another one, again, like I said, have you been demanding attention or sharing what you value and letting whatever attention comes or whatever you attract, letting that vibration attract that? Right? Because a wounded Mercury in Leo is the one that has to talk over everybody, needs to be the first to say it, is competing with everyone. It's wounded. It's not speaking from the solar plexus. It's speaking from wounds, right? So The wound, that's what you want to watch out for. The wounded Mercury in Leo. That's the shadow side of that energy. Okay. Um yeah, you know, it's gonna strip away a lot of Leo too, remember, because Leo is spotlight in the, you know, in the mix. It's individual, right? It's the opposite of its opposite, Aquarius, who is the collective, is humanity, is the future. Hi Ali from Ireland. That's so crazy because there's been like, I have been having, I don't know, something pop up about like Ireland. That is so crazy. Thank you for stopping through, Ali. I hope you're doing well. I'm so glad that you popped in. Okay. But Leo is very flashy too. So there could be this pulling back of that too. Filters, if we're, you know, talking about like very mundane things, people could be even questioning that. It depends on where you have Mercury. All right. So we'll talk about that in the 12 sign breakdown. But this is really going to leave us, y'all, with the raw truth of how we see ourselves, how we really see ourselves, not what we're projecting out there, how we really see ourselves. That's why I said it can be very personal and not just feel like your old regular schmegular Mercury retrograde. Okay. So some things that I think could start to come up with this. So be mindful, right? A lot of unhealed wounds and unconscious projections onto other people. This is what I was saying. You did this and it's them and it's not me. And, you know, they're out to get me, you know, just all those things. Okay. There's a lot of old wounds around being ignored, overlooked, or mocked. Okay. Remember, Leo is the side, it's seen, it's spotlight. So when it doesn't get that, right, the whole point of this, okay, let's go there real quick because they're taking me there. The whole point of this is to be able to come out of this and not feel like you have to perform to be seen, not feel like you have to overcompensate to feel worthy. Leo is about truth, which is also why it's represented by the sun, right? It's about courage, which is also why it's represented by the strength card in the tarot deck. It's about courage and bravery. So a lot of this is being grounded in your own truth, right? Being grounded in your own heart, being centered, right? Where's our center? Our heart, right? So it's about being grounded in that before you project it out there, because otherwise you're projecting from your wound. Otherwise you're projecting wounding. Okay. So Leo also rules the inner child, right? So Mercury being here could bring back flashbacks for you guys. It could really bring back some memories. So your dreams, pay attention to intrusive thoughts, pay attention to them, don't engage, right? Even passive aggressive like messages that, you know, if you believe in signs from the universe, about like when you felt like a time when your voice did not matter, when it was not unheard, right? Because this is really clearing. Pay attention to this now, because during the retrograde there could be things that come up that really prompt you to fix it, you know, not fix it, but work with the energy so that you can get on top of it, overstand it. Okay. There's definitely fears coming up of being too much or either not enough. Leo is that sign, right? I said, right? It's the drama sign. And it is associated with the arts and things like that, right? Drama. So I think people who will feel this one, especially if y'all have been hiding your creative self, your spiritual self, how you express yourself in an effort to like keep peace, or overperforming, overdoing it to prove your worth. You might feel that. You might have an identity crisis around your voice, around what you've actually been saying and where the disconnect is. Okay. There could be some jealousy, okay? Comparison wounds. This is what I'm saying. Like this Mercury retrograde doesn't feel cute. It doesn't feel cute. It doesn't. It feels personal. Okay. Yeah, Leo is a sign that naturally craves validation, which again is not a bad thing, but you must validate yourself first, or you will outsource that. You will outsource validation. And when you outsource your validation, it just kind of reads as desperation. Right? That's how it's like picked up. When you outsource your validation, then people can tell you what you're worth. Okay. So look out, I would say be mindful of feeling kind of like raw, even when you see like maybe other people who are shining. I would say, because that's gonna be a tough trigger for some people. That's gonna feel very personal, but it's not meant to, defeat you in that way. It's meant to show you where you haven't been letting yourself become all that you can be. Okay, so if you feel triggered by that, right, that can go two ways, is what they're channeling into me now. Is like you can see that and be inspired and think of it as like, wow, I'm on the right path. I'm starting to see more things that are aligned with me. I actually made a video about that. Or you could see that as the universe showing you, it's almost like giving you permission. You see someone else in all of their glory and not holding themselves back, not having that restriction, being really raw, authentic, and magnetic at that. So when you're raw, when you're authentic, you're just naturally magnetic. You might see that, and that might be a mirror, a reflection of something that you crave and that you want. And I feel like if you guys see that and it triggers you in that way, that is your permission. Okay, that is the universe showing you, like, yeah, you see, like, no, it's not too much. Look, not so you can compare yourself, just so you see, like, it's not too much. It's people doing this, people living like that, and genuinely happy. Okay, so all of this is happening, guys, right? Because Mercury, when it does station direct, right, in August, right? So it's going to station direct August 11th. What is teaching us up until that point? How to reclaim our voice with this authenticity, right? Not performative noise. Okay? How to speak, like I said, from your solar plexus, not from your wounds. How to write, teach, for those of you who are creatives, because it's gonna affect a lot of like creatives and people who are like out there and put themselves out there. How to write, teach, post, express yourself from a space of truth over having to follow trends and chase the algorithm. Okay. And also understanding the power of silence and, like, when it comes to strength, and not seeing that as a weakness or seeing that as something that you should fear. Okay. Or be afraid of. And do let me know, y'all, in the chat or the comments when you guys see this later, where's Mercury going to be retrograding for you guys in Leo? What house is that? All right, now I want to talk a little bit about the tarot associations, okay, for this Mercury retrograde. So y'all know it's going to be in Leo. If it starts at 4 degrees and goes into, what did I say, 15 degrees, right? That's going to be the first decan and the second decan of Leo. So in the tarot, that's represented by the 5 of Wands. So I want y'all to see that. Okay. So essentially, this is what we're moving through right now. Okay. And then we have the 6 of Wands. Okay. This will be when it passes the 9th, 10th degree of Leo. Then it enters into the 6 of Wands, okay, which is about praise, recognition. Look at that, a crown. He's at the top of the branch. He's also an owl. He's wise, okay. Now, the 5 of Wands is about conflict. It's about competition. It's about fights, confrontations, okay. Now, when it goes, so what we're moving through right now, this could be happening externally. This is just what I'm getting channeled right now. This could be happening externally. This could be happening in your physical world with people around you. The thing is, when this goes retrograde, it's going to turn internal. And I'm going to be quite honest. Some people could actually feel like, oh shit, like it wasn't them, you know? So remember how, I don't know if y'all remember this in like grade school when your teachers or the adults would say, or even the elders in your family, like when you point your finger, there's more fingers pointing back at you than there are pointing at the person you're blaming. That's what this energy feels like. That's what it feels like during the retrograde. Like the fingers turn inward and you're realizing some stuff. You might realize that you were acting from a wounded place, that you said something from a wound, that you did something from a wounded solar plexus, a wounded sacral chakra, wounded unbalanced root chakra, a silenced throat chakra. So this is a really, like, this Mercury retrograde is so potent if you're self-aware. Like, that's what this, if you're self-aware. And if not, you just might get your ass handed to you. Real talk. Like, you could really feel your ego get burned. You could really feel, hey Nikki, how you doing? You could really feel your ego get burned. Okay? So right, that fight becomes internal, or you realize it was internal all along. Right? All right, here's my last little thing for the collective about the Mercury shadow, and then I'll go into the individual signs. I'll talk more about that and break it down. So essentially, y'all, with this, if I want to break it down with the tarot, right, just to give y'all different perspectives and just different ways to look at it, because that's just how I look at it for myself too. So I just feel excited to come and share it in that way. You can kind of look at it like this, right? Because essentially Mercury's gonna stop at the Six of Wands and then start backing up from there, right? And it's gonna back up into the Five of Wands. And then when it goes direct, it'll move back through the Five of Wands, back up through the Six of Wands, and then it's gone. It'll clear all the degrees and it's out of all the retrograde stuff. Now, as it is moving backwards in the Six of Wands, which it will do first during the retrograde, it's like we're being pulled from the spotlight, right? The Six of Wands is that. We're being pulled back from the spotlight, and we're having to deal with these ego challenges, these personal identity things. That's that Five of Wands. That's when the fight turns inward, internal. Right now, this could be happening externally. Like I said, a lot of disagreements and things like that. When we start to move forward again, we're going to re-emerge much stronger, more authentic, and with more clarity about who we are and what recognition actually means. So that's the thing, right? What does it mean to be seen? Like, just to be seen for the hell of it, or to be felt, to be respected, not just, validated for the hell of it, validated because you're doing what everybody else want to do. It's easy to do that until it's not. And so that's what this feels like. All right, so some more reflective questions, right? Remember, are we seeking validation, or are we expressing from our soul's truth? I think you can kind of gauge that. Like, are you expressing yourself just to be heard, just to get a response, just to get claps, likes, whatever it is? Or think about it, like what you're expressing, what you're putting out there, like, is it something you truly value? Do you feel it? Like, does it move you? Because then when you put that out there, that emotion will translate wherever you need it to. Okay. Also, who are you when you're not being praised? Or is your whole thing like built off of praises and likes? And okay, I'm telling y'all, this Mercury retrograde is gonna get personal. All right. I think that's it. Yep, I think that's it. There was a vision that I was seeing, and I connected it to this whole thing. After I had gotten through all my like downloads and research, I was able to connect the vision. So I'll share that here, and then we'll get into the 12 signs. But I was seeing someone, right, like in the middle of a body of water, ocean, whatever. It was a body of water, and they were almost like drowning, but they were only drowning because, like, they were trying, it feels like, to get air, but they were trying to talk. and and they're going under, and it's like, and it's just like, just stop, like, just stop talking, like, just let the word, like, just hold your breath, stop talking. But it was like the person could not. It was like, and I kind of got that is like, because water is emotions. Water, that is what it represents, like cups in the tarot deck. I felt like that could be symbolic of like, you can't bypass this emotional work. You cannot bypass this. You can try to keep talking. You can try to keep pushing through it. You can try to point the finger. You can try to blame. This Mercury retrograde is very personal, and it's an internal thing. I'm telling you, right now, pay attention. Up until July 18th, it could be manifesting externally. But it is something going on internally, which you'll get deeper into during the retrograde. But this is giving you hints and clues as to where it's happening. Okay, so let me get some water. Move my, this is my collective notes. So let me get the, well, they're right here. The notes for the individual readings. I'll timestamp it after too, y'all. And yeah, we're gonna get into it. I'm gonna start, I didn't think about that. I'm gonna start with Cancer. Oh, wow. So good. Okay. All right. Where's my pen? There's my favorite pen. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Cancerians. I'm gonna break it down like this, right? Because again, I really want you guys to be able to use this information. Like I said, this is not for entertainment, okay? This is to really help, okay, and really see where to pay attention to for this retrograde for you guys. All right, so I'm going to talk about the main theme for each sign, how this could play out in your actual reality, right? So some real life mundane manifestations that you might be dealing with, what you need to be watching for, okay? Meaning what will probably be amplified and you'll have to deal with when Mercury actually goes retrograde. All right, so let me know if any of this is confirming something that you're already dealing with during the retrograde. All right, so for Cancer, okay, you can do rising, sun, and y'all know I say you can do any sign and apply it to that house in your chart. But Cancer, rising, and sun. This is taking place in your second house, and I'm just thinking to do timestamps real quick. So, I'm sorry. All right. Thank you for your patience, guys. I appreciate you. All right, Cancer sun, second house, right? So the second house is about self-worth. It's about money, your values, what you own, your possessions, your security. I'm stressing that because it sits opposite the 8th house. Fill Up My Bank says, thank you for inspiration. Thank you very much. Thank you. It sits opposite the 8th house, which is shared finances, shared possessions, shared, even emotional just connections and contracts that you have with other people. So this is more of a self house, okay? The bigger message for you guys, Cancerians, this shadow period is really asking you, do you really value yourself? Because the second house is about things, but I think a lot of people miss that it is self-worth, okay? So do you really value yourself, or just what you can do for other people? All right, this is where like your confidence and currency kind of intersect, and that's why it's so important. That's why I feel like self-worth is the bigger thing in the second house than money and possessions, because it's going to, whatever you get in there, acquire, is directly linked to how you feel about yourself and what you feel like you can manifest and acquire and attain, right? So if your self-worth has, like I said, been outsourced to like approval or how much you make or your productivity or you know, like how much you can do, and especially for other people, you might feel very called out during this period. Okay, and it's just bringing your attention to it. So a lot of you are being asked to name your own value before the outside world tells you, right? Like, stop waiting for people to tell you what you're worth. Okay. So now, some ways that this could manifest in your everyday life, Cancerians. There could be some financial uncertainty or even sudden expenses that pop up. Okay. There could be arguments or disagreements that you're having with people based off of, again, that value, right? What you feel like you're valued versus like what you're getting or what you're seeing show up in your relationships, type of thing. It could show up as feeling unseen or underpaid at work, or, you know, like what you do for work or what you do to attain money and your assets and things. Okay. It can also manifest as over shopping or retail therapy, right? And y'all have to really be mindful because Jupiter's in your sign, right? And it's exalted, but Jupiter can also tip the scales to be too much. Okay. And another way that this can manifest, Cancerians, is comparing yourself to other people's success. Okay. Now, what you need to be watching out for, the most important things. Notice the moments where you abandon yourself to seem humble, okay, likable, or easygoing. What I mean by that is like, what I've been seeing is like, sometimes people will really minimize what it is that they want, or, you know, so they won't seem like they're wanting too much, or, you know, oh, well, no, I don't want to, no. Okay, so watch out for that. Okay. It's not about being arrogant or anything like that, but it is about reclaiming this throne inside of yourself. Okay. So this is really going to poke at those parts of you that think you still have to earn love, okay, or earn stability. Okay, remember, those are birthrights. I know a lot of us have been tricked out of that, not just you. All right, so what I'll leave you with, Cancerians, what if you stopped proving your worth and you actually started embodying it? All right, so that's what I'm gonna leave y'all with, and we're gonna keep up with Mercury as it's moving about, and we'll talk more too when it actually goes retrograde. Okay, so Leo, let's talk. Let us talk. Let me just jot down your timestamp. All right, Leo, this is literally happening in your first house. Talk about identity crisis, okay? Or your voice specifically. This is identity, how you look. So it's your appearance, your confidence, your personal power. So for you guys, this is very personal. This is you kind of facing a mirror that is totally going to strip away any type of like performance. Okay, it's going to reflect the parts of you that you might still hide even from yourself. Okay, so it's like, are you being seen or are you just being palatable? Okay, Leo, so this one's really going to hit you. Okay, again, because Leo is that sign of just bigger and larger than life energy. All right, because the version of you that's coming out might be loud, it might be louder, but it's also going to be more true. It's going to be more authentic. Okay, it's going to know why it's being loud. All right, but right now, that shift, you feeling that shift could really be scaring the parts of you that are still craving like approval. Okay, so how this could start manifesting for you guys during this period: doubts around your appearance, or like changing your style, your wardrobe, things like that. This could be identity shifts, okay, or just these existential questions, right? I'm the queen of that. I am the queen of that. You know, what is life, and why are we all here, and what's the point of all of this? You know, so just flow with it, Leo. There could be this feeling of being misunderstood, or like people have mistaken your identity, like they don't really know who you are. Some of y'all could be actually returning to older versions of yourself. Or, I think this one is interesting, or some of y'all Leos could be bumping into people who knew an older version of yourself. So that's interesting. Like, really, if that happens to y'all, pay attention to what you feel, what comes up, how do they communicate with you, like, you know, seeing you as that older version of yourself. Some of y'all could also feel overly judged, or the complete opposite, you could feel very invisible. Okay, especially with this happening in your first house. Okay, so what you need to be paying attention to, this feeling or this sudden urge to shrink, soften, or to like not make yourself the center of things, or to not make things about you. Okay, it's not ego. Okay, it's self-recognition, which I feel like you're learning, relearning in a more authentic way how to recognize yourself. Okay, so pay attention to how you react when you feel misunderstood or unseen. Okay, because the version of you that is going to survive this, like I said, is going to be much bolder, much more clearer, and then you're going to be unapologetically raw and real. All right. So what I'll leave you guys with, oh, I like that, I remember that, is what if the mask that you guys take off actually reveals a crown? All right, Leos, that's what I will leave you guys with. Okay, you know, I had to dramatize it for the Leos. All right, Virgo-licious. Virgo-licious, let's get your timestamp. Okay, Virgo. 12th house, Virgo. It's going to be happening in your 12th house. This is your subconscious mind. It's your sleep patterns. It's endings, right? Because it's the last house. It's solitude. It's your spiritual journey, your spiritual healing. It's karmic ties. Okay? Now, something I also want you to keep in mind, Virgo, is that you have the South Node moving through your sign. You also have Mars in your sign right now. Okay? So those are things that you need to be keeping in mind. And also, Mercury's your ruler. All right? So wherever Mercury goes, whatever Mercury's doing, you need to pay attention to. Overall theme for you guys is, feels like y'all are entering a liminal space, right? It's less about clarity, quite honestly. And it not less about clarity. It's less about facts. Let me put it that way. It's less about facts and it's more about feelings. This is why I said you need to remember that the South Node is in your sign, which means that it's okay in this time to let go of quote unquote facts or logic. Or the North Node is in your opposite sign of Pisces. It is more about feelings for you. It is more about intuition for you. Okay? And the more that you try to get caught up in logic in what doesn't make logical sense to you, the more stuck you might feel or confused. Okay? So the shadow period is going to expose any unprocessed pain in the 12th house, any hidden shame that you carry, any secret exhaustion that comes from always having to hold things together or seem like you have it all together. And the question is like, what are you afraid will happen if you finally just rest or surrender? Okay? So how this could be playing out for y'all in your real life, okay? Disturbed sleep, vivid dreams. So write down your dreams. Feeling misunderstood, feeling ghosted. All right, or having those things kind of like come back up, those wounds kind of resurface. Remember, the 12th house is the past. It's where things go to die. Okay, you might be having some emotional outbursts in private, you know, crying, randomly feeling very nostalgic or sad about something. Some of y'all could even revisit some of your older spiritual tools and practices, all right, that could help you through this time. And then again, there could also be some karmic relationships that are coming back around to be released. Okay. And whatever Mercury brings up about them is very telling. And for some of you, a channel is coming through that might come through in your dreams. So pay attention to it, okay? Especially if it's about an old lover or something. All right, so what you guys need to watch out for. Do not rush trying to get clarity, okay? This shadow period is not here to fix. All right, it's here to reveal, right? Like this is the revealing. These are the hints and clues telling us where we're going to be working on it during the retrograde, okay? You're meant to surrender. This is happening in your 12th house, Virgo. Not be scrambling. So that should be a hint for you. Watch out for that. You find yourself scrambling and, you know, jacking up your nervous system. That's your cue to surrender, okay? Watch what comes up when you have these moments of solitude, when you're in silence, okay? When you're in the quiet, when you're in the calm, out of the hustle and bustle. Because this is like a deep soul cleanup happening for y'all. It's not about chaos, okay? This is kind of like an initiation type of energy, right? Because then Mercury's going to go, eventually, going to move forward into your first house, your sign, where it has a comfortability with Virgo. All right, so this is deep for y'all too. So I'll leave y'all with this, Virgo. What parts of y'all need to be laid to rest before you can fully awaken? And I put it that way because Mercury's in your 12th house of rest, of, like I said, where things go to die, versions of ourselves go to die, so that when it goes into the first house of identity, it can be reborn again. All right, so I'm also hearing slow, and that's the 12th house. It's naturally ruled by Pisces, right? Which is your natural opposite, and it moves slow. It's very slow. It's very much like stopping, right? Think of it as a road trip, and it's stopping, and it's going to the local fruit stand, and it's going to the gift shop, and it's still going to get there to the destination, but it's slow. All right, and now I'm hearing back down memory lane. That makes sense. 12th house is the past, Virgo. So it feels like there's going to be a lot of that. Like your healing is coming from like healing something from the past. Okay, maybe lots of things. All right, so that's what I have for y'all, Virgo. Okay, gotta clear it off. Move the notes out the way. All right, let's go to Libra. Also, by the way, guys, I still have, if y'all will look in the description box, I couldn't fit it all in the chat. You'll see the offerings that I have for readings over the summer. Okay, so go do check that out if you're looking for something private, more intimate, and in depth. Okay, Libra. Give me some time to get some water. Okay, Libra, this is going to be happening in your 11th house. Okay, that's all about community. It's about your vision for the future. It's your friendships. It's social media, right? So technology is involved with this one for y'all. It's your role in the collective, in the bigger group. So organizations you're a part of, this could be colleagues as well, can be the 11th house too. All right, so the big message for y'all. A lot of y'all are questioning whether you really belong, whether you actually belong, right? Like not just who likes you, but who actually gets you, who feels you, right? Who resonates with you. So the shadow period is going to call BS, okay, on any performative relationships, any performative friendships, any forced collaborations, any dreams that were never yours to begin with. Right, so this is the whole like following someone else's archetype, the blueprint for their life, or this is just you know, going down the path because, well, they say you'll be successful if you do this, or, you know, dang it. Sorry, somebody was calling. I don't know if it cut off the audio. So this mask, okay, Libra, y'all know we've been talking about this, okay? This mask of like being light is going to feel suffocating, okay, to your authentic self, which is who's pushing through with this Mercury retrograde, trying to push through. Okay, so how this could show up in your actual life Libra. There could be awkwardness, okay, in the groups that you're a part of, in these organizations, in your friend groups. It could just feel awkward, okay? I feel like I'm nervous laughing, like I'm picking up on the energy. Some of y'all are going to start to lose interest in certain groups and things you used to be a part of. You're just going to completely lose interest in it, or start to question it. There could definitely be some glitches, changes with your social media or online presence. Okay, so that if that applies to you. There could be some friendships from the past that return for quote unquote closure. You know, don't believe in closure, but it can happen. And then a lot of y'all could start to rethink your long-term goals, because that's the 12th, excuse me, that's the 11th house too. Again, your vision for the future. So you can start rethinking that. Mercury, the house of the, planet of thinking and thought in that house, tracing and going backwards could make you rethink that. Okay, so what you need to be watching out for. How often are you guys bending your identity just to feel included in the group, in the whole, right? Pay attention, okay, to the places where you guys are shrinking just to get that applause, just to get that validation, okay? Because it's not just about quote unquote community. This is about really alignment, y'all, okay? So if these things don't see your soul, like I said, if it don't feel you and resonate with you, this Mercury retrograde is going to ask you, why are you still sitting at the table? Okay, so I'll leave y'all with this, Libra. I want to call y'all Aquarius so bad because we're talking about the 11th house, but what if your next level, this one is so deep, so let me lock in. Libra, what if your next level cannot be reached with the people you've been dragging with you? Okay, some of you don't want to let go. I've seen it. Of these certain groups, you've already gotten the red flags, you've already gotten the information. This Mercury retrograde is going to amplify it. Okay, so that's what I have for y'all Libras. Okay, let's get to Scorpio. Hold on, let me make sure that I'm still okay. Good, I'm still live. Sometimes the Wi-Fi is a little janky, and I'm never, one time it cut me off literally, and I thought I was still recording, only to get through the entire live and realize it cut me off like as soon as I started. So I'm always checking now. Okay, all right, Scorpio, 10th house. So let's talk about this. This was very interesting to get into for Scorpios. Okay, this is going to be taking place in the 10th house. That's what the most public house in the chart. Sits at the top of the chart. So it is your career. It's your public image, the legacy you leave behind, how you want people to see you out in the world, the image that's like projected out there. Okay, this can also be long-term goals because it's associated with like what you do for work, career space. Here's the bigger message, Scorpio. Everything you thought you were building is going to be up for a review. Now, I don't want you to think about it in a way like it's up for review because you're failing. It's not, okay? It is up for review, though, because the thing you're building in the way that you're building it or the direction that you started building it might actually not resonate anymore with your truth. You've evolved. You've changed. I can relate. I feel it. Okay. So this is going to peel back your public persona. Like this is going to be kind of public for Scorpios. Okay, I'm a Scorpio. So this is going to be kind of public. 10th house. Ain't no way around it. Ain't no way around. Okay. If you know, you know. But this is going to be asking, right? Like, is this the hill you really want to die on? Right? If it is, cool. But if the hill you've been trekking up and building upon does not align with your truth, like this is going to reel it back in. Okay. And another thing that I feel like, I don't think that a lot of Scorpio, like a lot of Scorpios been going through job shifts and things like that. You might see even more of that with this upcoming Capricorn full moon, right? Because Capricorn rules 10th house. Now, it's not so much, Scorpio, that I feel like y'all are disconnected from the work that you do, or some of you might, right? There is a work wound. Like I have to say this, right? But some of you, it's that you feel you have to be a certain way in that, right? So it's like, and I think I did put that in here, so I'll talk about that. But it's like feeling like you have to constantly keep earning, right? Like something y'all could be feeling, right, is you know, feeling like you are ambitious, but that ambition could be masking a deeper insecurity. It could even be masking survival mode. Okay? This could manifest as like career delays, public missteps. Remember, it's this 10th house. Expect some public stuff. Okay? Or you can expect like to be seen a certain way publicly, but you're going through a whole different thing privately with this Mercury retrograde. So some of y'all might start feeling unseen, underappreciated. I don't think that would be a new feeling for Scorpio risings, okay? Maybe even Scorpio suns. Old bosses, authority figures could reappear. You could be questioning the direction of your life. There could be this fear of failure or fear of becoming irrelevant. Okay, now this is what you need to watch for. Notice when praise feels like pressure. That's what I'm talking about. So feeling like, you know, say you do get a lot of eyes on you, right? Because it is very public. Notice how you feel. Do you feel comfortable with that? Because for some of you, what this is highlighting is a blind spot that you didn't even know you had. You get the praise, you get the accolade, you get the recognition, but you don't feel comfortable in it. And it's just because, again, you don't feel safe. You feel like you have to be in survival mode to maintain it. There's fear of losing it. There's fear of exposure when it comes to Scorpio energy. There's fear of people actually seeing you. Okay? And that's what this is going to call out. So also notice, this is another key point for y'all, when showing up as professional feels like performing. This is where you are going to have to redefine what success is to you. What is and what that means to you personally. Retrograde means internal. So what does success mean to you? What does showing up professionally, whatever that means, what does that mean to you? Is it okay that it looks different than what professionalism is supposed to look like? A lot of this for Scorpios is about really taking off that beautiful poker face that Scorpios wear and letting people see you. Not dimming it down, okay? Because a lot of Scorpios can really dumb that down, thinking that, you know, people will think they're too much, or they're doing too much, or they're being too deep. Okay, so yeah, the version of success that you guys have been chasing or going after, right? Let's not use chasing. Has it been rooted in your power, Scorpio, or your pain, right? So that's what this is going to bring up. Really reminding you, you don't have to hustle to feel worthy. You don't. Okay, I'm hearing go slower. So what I'll leave you with, Scorpio, what happens when the identity you built for yourself and for your survival starts threatening your soul? So again, Scorpio, I feel like this is telling you the armor that you built, the poker face that you had to wear to protect yourself in a previous time, you don't need it anymore. Okay, you can start to communicate differently, call in the things that you want, and really believe that you can have those things without pimping out your energy. All right, that's what I have for you, Scorpio. Okay, let's go to Sag. Okay, Sag, this is going to be taking place in your 9th house. It's literally the house that Sag naturally rules, so that's interesting. The 9th house is about beliefs, spirituality, higher education, right? Like college, things like that, getting like 2nd degrees and things. Travel is about expansion, okay? So the bigger message for you, Sag, this is all about deprogramming, okay? You're not just rethinking your path. A lot of you are realizing parts of it were never actually chosen by you yourself. There is like this discomfort that you guys are having, because you might be outgrowing old belief systems. You might be outgrowing mentors that you have. Even like spiritual identity. So for some of you that are religious, okay, you could start to have some deeper questions. Okay. And the whole point of this, I think, too, is to remind y'all, like, it's okay to change your mind. It's okay for something to not resonate with you anymore. That will probably happen a lot throughout your lifetime. Okay, so how this could start to manifest in your actual reality, Sag. Travel plans could be shifting or get delayed. There could be doubts about, again, your spiritual teachers, spiritual paths, religion, those questions, okay? Feeling like you have outgrown certain environments and surroundings. Questioning religion or philosophies. And there could definitely be some conflicts with people over y'all's differences in beliefs, right? And that's what I was talking about too. They're bringing back the imagery here of the 5 of Wands to the 6 of Wands. So this could be actually happening for y'all right now. External conflicts about, you know, your beliefs against someone else's. That's going to turn inward, where you're going to really be, because usually I think when we have conflicts with people about our beliefs, sometimes we're not fully grounded in our belief, actually. So sometimes I feel like we are trying to convince ourselves. You know, that's just my perspective on it sometimes. All right, so what you need to be paying attention to, Sagittarius. Notice where you're being called to relearn something, re-educate yourself, be a student again. Not just through books, though. Like, this is the thing. Through life. Okay? Getting some experiences. So this means, though, let's be clear. This means that you have to pause. Watch for being a know-it-all, for having to speak very quickly. Okay? Be mindful of that. All right? Some of you, again, are questioning what you have blindly trusted. That could be cracking wide open. Let that happen, okay? You're going to be realizing the truth is not always something that's logical, okay? Sometimes it's just something that feels right, okay? And so that could seem simple, but that could be very jolting and paradigm shifting realization for somebody. Okay, so don't fear this detour that's happening, Sag. Flow with it. I'll leave you guys with this. What if the beliefs that once freed you are now the cage? All right? Think about that. Very existential. All right, Capricorn. Aquarius. Oh, dang, I missed Sagi's timestamp. It's all good, though. Let's get Capricorns. Okay, Cappy. The Mercury shadow period is what we're talking about. Taking place in your 8th house. Very deep, so it's going to be deep, okay? 8th house is all about power. It's about intimacy. It's about debts. Emotional and financial. It's about what you share with another person, resources, accounts, spaces. It's about deep transformation because it is the original home of Scorpio. So what this is all about for y'all, this is a phase that will surface any emotional contracts that have been hidden, even ones you don't even know that you have with people. So this is like, what power dynamics have silently been draining you guys? Are you giving your energy in hopes that someone will finally choose you back, type of thing? It's going to be time to look at where you've been spiritually, and for some of y'all, literally bankrupting yourself in the name of like keeping a connection or something alive. All right? Because the 8th house does include other people. Okay. So how this could be manifesting for you, Cappy? Issues around taxes, loans, shared finances. Remember, 8th house, 2nd house, financial houses, okay? Power struggles in your relationships. Obsessive thinking or jealousy because of that scorpionic nature and how deep the 8th house is. There could be a sudden desire as well to go to therapy, start some healing, do some shadow work. There could also be this fear of loss, or even like this fear of betrayal starting to creep in. Okay. What you need to watch out for during the shadow period. You guys might feel exposed, raw, or emotionally reactive. Pay attention to that. Don't push it down. This period is really revealing wounds that you need to witness. Okay? It's not about blame. It's about breaking that pattern. Okay? Watch what triggers this I'll just handle it type of instinct that you guys tend to carry, right? Or have been carrying, right? What triggers that? This, I'll just do it. I'll just take all the responsibility. Okay? So I'll leave y'all with this. What parts of you, Capricorn, are still negotiating love through sacrifice? All right? So I'm going to leave y'all with that. And I'm also going to leave you for a few minutes because I need to take a restroom break. Okay? So give me a second. Take a restroom break if you need to. And we will return with Aquarius through Gemini. All right? Thank y'all for your patience. I'll be right back. I also need to get another water. Your girl is thirsty. Let me get that. Okay, guys. Thank you for your patience. Oh my gosh, yes. Refreshing. Okay. Let's go ahead and get into Aquarius. Okay, that wasn't too long of a break. All right, Aquarius, let's get your timestamp and let's see what the Mercury shadow period has for y'all. Okay, Aquarius, this one is taking place in a relationship house for you guys, the 7th house. So it's relationships, it's contracts, it's about one-on-one dynamics. Okay. You know, this is where you'll see yourself mirrored. Okay, you'll see your shadow mirrored back to you, emotions mirrored back to you. And so the bigger message with this is like the mirror is quote unquote speaking, right? Because this is where Mercury will be. And so the ways that other people respond to you right now is actually going to be revealing more about yourself, more about your relationship with yourself than those people. Okay, remember, as within, so without. So if you feel unseen, overextended, or even misunderstood, you need to turn that energy inward. Now, I'm aware we're moving through the 5 of Wands right now with the degrees that Mercury is at. So you could not be feeling like going inward right now. This could be very external if you are feeling unseen, overextended, and misunderstood. You could be, you know, projecting it outwardly. We're living a human experience, you know. But that's why I'm making this, so you can be aware. Okay, so that way you can get ahead of that energy. You can clock it when you feel it, when you're in those moments. Okay, that's your cue to look within. Okay, because it's only whatever is going on in there is only being reflected back to you. So your relationships are a mirror. You're gonna be remembering you're not too much. Okay, you're just trying to be everything. All right, so how this could play out for you guys in your day-to-day life, there could be some exes that return. Okay, I'm hearing Maya, case of the ex. There could be miscommunication in your one-on-one relationships, partners of all kind. Okay, some of y'all are going to start rethinking a collaboration or agreement. This is crazy because it was in one of the weekly what to expect. I think it was last week's. One of those lives I did for Aquarius was literally talking about some of y'all are going to start to rethink a collaboration or an agreement. This Mercury don't lie. So there we go. Okay. Now this could also be like ghosting, emotional avoidance, whether that be on your part or another person. Hold on now. Who is doing all this at the door and everything? Oh, okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. There could even be you realizing, okay, that someone is not who you thought they were. All right. Now, what y'all need to pay attention to, Aquarius, where are y'all settling for a connection that costs you your peace? Okay. Watch the way you show up in your relationships during this time. Are you showing up honestly, or are you playing a role? Okay. This is really going to be a chance to reintroduce yourself in the eyes of other people, but it starts internally. You have to know who you are to reintroduce yourself and be clear and sure about that. So what I will leave you guys with is, what if the love you guys are craving starts with reclaiming your boundaries? Okay, so I think that's what y'all going to be doing a lot of during this shadow period, and definitely the retrograde. All right, that's what I have for you, Aquarius. All right, Pisceans. Let's get your timestamp. Okay, Pisces, this is taking place in your 6th house. This is the house of the everyday. So it's your daily routine, it's your work ethic, your service out there in the world, it's your self-discipline, it's your health. Okay, the overall theme for you guys, burnout, probably. And it's not gonna be random, so you're gonna be probably feeling this right now if this is the theme. Okay, this is a warning. This shadow would be the warning for you, that you've been operating like your body is some type of machine, some of you, and treating your soul like it's just some type of like side project. Okay, this is going to bring that into the forefront. It's really asking y'all, like, what is your rhythm? You know, what's your rhythm in your everyday, right? Because it's not about like laziness or anything. Some of you, this burnout, like, you're just tired of doing things that do not feed you back. Okay, so how it could start to play out for you guys, like I said, burnout, fatigue, your health, you can have health flare-ups, or your immunity dips, right? um, Annoyances with coworkers or your job, because this is a 6th house and Mercury, so miscommunications there. Watch your mouth. There could be some tech things that start to act up or glitch, especially at work for you guys. Guilt about not being productive enough. Really watch for that, because that's exactly why a lot of you are burning out. You feel guilty when you're not doing something. And there could be a return to old health routines or habits. All right. Now, what you really need to pay attention for. If your self-worth is tied to how much you do, then this season is going to unravel that. You are not a to-do list, okay? Real service starts with you being able to have sustainability in your life. That starts with your health routines and your personal daily habits before you ever outsource that energy to help anyone else, even your job. Okay? 111 on the time when I'm saying this. Watch your reactions also when you're asked to slow down. How do you feel? You know, do you like repel that idea? Okay, and I think just to get y'all through this, you have to remember, like, because things probably might slow down in the day-to-day, this is not regression, okay? You guys, it's realigning, okay? Your daily life. What I'll leave you guys with, Pisces. What if rest is the medicine your soul's actually been begging for? What if that soul's everything? All right, so that's how I'll leave y'all with a little cliffhanger. We will resume on the next episode of Mercury retrograde. Okay. That's not it, though. Let's go to Aries. All right, we got Aries, Taurus, and Gemini. Okay, Aries, so this is taking place in the 5th house. You know, you guys have the most natural chart. Leo naturally rules the 5th house. All right, so for y'all, I feel like this is asking you, do you know what lights you up anymore? Do you even know? Do you really know? You know, like the spark, the raw, unfiltered joy that you guys used to have, right? Especially when you created something. Or even like for those of you who like performed, or even like when you flirt, right? Because the 5th house is dating. When you were the center of attention in something, right? Like, where did that go? That's what this is asking. It could also be saying too, contrasting that, like, or is it there and y'all just chasing it in all the wrong places? Like, are you still trying to strive for those things, but it's just with the wrong people or in the wrong spaces or doing the wrong thing? Okay, so that's what this is going to be talking about. It's going to be a lot of old patterns coming up for y'all around attention seeking, needing people to validate you, pushing too hard to be recognized. Okay. Some of y'all going to be realizing that being seen is not the same as being known. You could be everywhere. That's what I just heard. I just blurted that up. I'm here. You could be everywhere. So what? People might misunderstand your tone. They might question your sincerity, especially when it comes to love, when it comes to your creative projects, even parenting. Okay, because 5th house is children and your inner child and childhood. Some of y'all might start to second guess your voice, your style, right? Because the 5th house is personal self-expression. Or like if you have a brand, all right? You know, apply that if it applies to you. It's not just about how you show up, Aries. It's going to be about why you want to be seen. It's not about being seen, it's your why. Why are you doing it? Just to be in the spotlight? Is it because you was never seen when you were a child? Is it, this is the whole thing. All right, so what you guys need to watch for in your daily life, how it could start showing up in your actual life. Tensions in your romantic dynamics, especially ones appearing from the past. So exes, people used to date or flirt or, you know, had a little fling with. Self-doubt around your creative work, your personal expression, your voice. Okay, there could be jealousy, comparison, even anxiety that comes in for those of you who are like performers or you're on a stage or something like that, because fifth house is that. There could also be this feeling like you're not enough unless you're being clapped for, unless you're being applauded. So do understand that when Mercury goes retrograde, that might be taken away. Like that, if that's the thing for you, right? Because it's going to be different for everybody. But if that's the trigger for you, that might be taken away. The applause, the claps, the eyes, the having people around so you see like what you're really doing it for or what your real worth is. So that's why I want to do, like, prepare for that. Okay. Yeah, that's what I said. It's going to prepare y'all and take y'all deeper into your why. That's it. Your why for attention or approval. There's something about your self-worth and inner child that you're revisiting. It's ready to be like reclaimed, but there might be some miscommunications. There might be a failed attempt to impress people. Oh, not to embarrass you, but to show you ain't got to impress nobody. You ain't got to try to impress. You're just impressive, you know? And so, you know, there could be some ego bruises here. This is the natural house of Leo. Okay? So that's what I'll leave you with, Aries. All right? Okay. Dang it. I did not get Aries timestamp. Good Lord. All right. Taurus. Let's get your timestamp. Wow. Okay. Okay, Taurus. I still have notes for you on this one. Okay, Taurus. This is going to be taking place in your 4th house. So opposite Scorpio, who is up there having it in their 10th house, the most public part of the chart, you're having it in the most private part of your chart. Okay, so the 4th house is home, both your literal home and your internal home, your anchor, how you feel home, the home you carry with you out into the world. So your ability to feel safe, right? It's your roots, your mom, it's your emotional safety, like I said. So the bigger picture for you guys, Taurus, is redefining the meaning of home. Okay, the meaning of safety, and not as an actual place, as an energy, a vibration, a frequency that you can then carry with you out into the world, like I just said. Your emotional anchor. Okay, it's like, what are you emotionally tethered to that no longer reflects the person that you are evolving into, or that you have evolved into? All right, so it's the shadow period is really like, just because something is familiar does not mean that it's safe. Okay, and now they're coming through with the channel saying like your nervous system could be tested, because our nervous system a lot of times will, not a lot of times, your nervous system will tell you what's not safe. You feel it in your nervous system, in your nerves, you know. So they're saying it could be tested in that way, like you guys actually start feeling it in your body. Okay. Your foundations are shifting. Okay, how this could show up for you guys in your everyday life, Taurus. This could be miscommunication with family, tensions with family or people you live with, 4th house. This could be old memories, traumas resurfacing. The 4th house could be considered the past because it's childhood. It's how we grew up. It's our upbringing along with the 5th house. Some of y'all could be redecorating, moving, renegotiating terms about your living situations, okay? There could be emotional outbursts that seem to come out of nowhere. And also I would say for y'all in just the mundane way, there could be electronics, tech things that, you know, start to act up around the house too. Okay. Some of you, a TV. I heard that very specifically. All right, so what you need to be watching out for. If y'all are clinging to any outdated ideas of what it means to feel safe or stability just to avoid like discomfort or rocking the boat, this shadow period is going to press on that. Okay? Pay attention to how you react to feeling emotionally unseen. Especially, I was just about to say that. So, okay, especially if it stems from a childhood pattern. Okay, like for instance, right, because this is the house of the mother. If you used to feel unseen by your mom, unheard, ignored, invisible by any caretaker in your early upbringing. Okay. Now, for some of you, this is going to highlight that the home that you grew up in is not the same. It doesn't carry the same energy and frequency as the one that you're meant to build. And that's what you're realizing. Okay, those traditions, the habits, the emotional patterns, they can't go with you wherever you're going, right? Or in this emotional home that you're building, this safety that you're building within. So what I'll leave you with, Taurus, what happens when your idea of safety is now the very thing that's keeping you stuck? So some of you is going to call out attachments to toxic families. All right? That is what I have for y'all, Taurus. Okay. So we're going to end with Gemini. And, okay. Why do I... Okay, yeah, there we go. All right, let me make sure I had y'all on there, Gemini. Okay, Gemini. The third house. I thought that was very interesting that it's happening in the third house, which, if you don't know, is the natural house of Gemini. So I think Mercury being there, there's a comfort, right? There's a comfort there. Third house, naturally ruled by you. So, or a familiarity. I'll say that there's a familiarity there. Okay. So again, the third house is communication. It's your siblings. It's your neighborhood. It's short-term travel. So, you know, like running errands around your neighborhood, little trips around the city and things. It's your mindset. Okay. It's your learning mind, like the lower mind. I say learning mind because it sits opposite the ninth house, which is more so those broader concepts and theories and philosophies. Mercury in the third house is more like going through school, learning the facts and this and that, right? Mercury, I mean, Gemini's a lot about facts too. Okay. And it's technology. So you can expect that. All right. But I think the bigger message, Gemini, about this shadow period for y'all is highlighting how you talk, how you speak to yourself, but to others, but most importantly to yourself. Okay, the words you speak that plant seeds. And it's really going to be questioning, like, are you planting seeds of doubt or belief? Some of y'all have been thinking you're planting seeds of belief, but underneath it is a lot of doubt. Okay, so some of you could find that a truth that you've been speaking, like I said, is just kind of layered and more like performance or self-protection. Like just saying things that don't really get to the heart of things. They just sound very intellectual and smart and like the right thing, but they don't really resonate with you, right? So this is going to strip the message down. Really, it's going to strip it down. Like, are you telling stories that serve who you are now and where you're going, maybe? So how this could play out for y'all, Gemini, in your day-to-day life. There could be some arguments with siblings, neighbors, right? Because this is your neighborhoods, friends, maybe. There could be car trouble. This is your car. Third house is your car. Tech malfunctions. We just touched on that. Second guessing your opinions or switching your direction often, right? Because again, Gemini is third house, naturally ruled by Gemini, the duality, right? The two sides. Some of y'all could even revisit an old project, especially like a writing project or something like a speaking, like a speech or something like that. Be mindful of misreading messages, emails, even, you know, mistyping, you know, messages, text messages, emails, misinterpreting people's tones, okay, especially through messages, right? That's one thing I hate about messages is like you can't, unless you're sending like the voice notes, you can't really judge people's tone, right? Or people can be like, no, I didn't mean it like that, and like, you know. Anyways, so what y'all really need to watch out for, Gemini, especially, like I said, if you're ruled by a planet that's going retrograde, you need to pay attention to everything it's doing, and you are ruled by Mercury. So it's about becoming conscious of the inner monologue. Like I said, what are you saying to yourself? If there's an inner critic there that's always being negative, whose voice is that? That's what the Mercury retrograde is going to be highlighting for y'all. Whose voice is it anyway? Because it ain't yours. You adapted it from somewhere, and then you just start telling yourself the same stories or regurgitating the same stuff. Okay. Yeah, so what you're gonna be noticing, like you don't need to convince everyone. You need to believe yourself. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Sometimes when we get into it with other people, it's not so much so that we're trying to convince them. We keep going back and forth because now we're trying to convince ourselves. Subconsciously, do I believe what I said? Like, am I believing this? Like, wait a minute, why are they pushing back so much when you're not sure? You know what I'm saying? I feel like you keep going. You keep going. Oh, I gotta prove. They're still pushing back. They're still doubting me. They're still not clapping. No, I must have to keep proving. No, you just stand in your truth. You know? I'm learning that too, Gemini. So, another thing I want y'all to pay attention to, Gemini, is take note of how quickly y'all interrupt your own intuition with logic. This is going to be another thing, I think, for y'all, rewiring your mind to think past logic to feel more intuitive. So really pay attention to where you do that, where you have an intuitive hit. You feel it, it resonates. And then your logical mind is like, well, how could that work? Just negative, right? And so, you know, we can't help it. That's why just pay attention. We can help it, but we have to be aware of it. Let's put it that way. So be aware of that, right? You got this beautiful idea and the logic comes in like, well, how are you going to do that? That's not realistic. You know, pay attention to that. Mercury retrograde is going to work with you on that. Okay, because the truth doesn't always have to be in this perfect little box and in a perfect sentence and explained perfectly through logic, right? So that's what this could be breaking down for y'all. All right. That is it. That's all I wanted to come drop for you guys. Again, this is not for entertainment. This is so that you can use this information and hopefully get ahead of the energy and really apply it and see, you know, how it changes things, how it literally will change your life. All right, so I appreciate y'all. Thank you for stopping through. If you did, if you catch the playback, make sure y'all hit that like button. Please make sure y'all hit that like button, okay? Drop a comment, subscribe if you feel called to. I'll catch y'all in the next one. Till next time, bye.